Welcome to this episode of the GymInformer podcast. I'm Chris Gilbert, your host for this episode. And today on this episode, we have Will Martin, the owner of Vintage Iron out in Western Virginia. I'm excited to talk to Will. He has a very unique concept for his gym. It's a really cool old school bodybuilding gym. But before we get started, let's take a pause and I'll show you the photos that I took of the gym while I was there. All right, Will, you've had the gym for a few years now, and from our conversations that we've had, it's expanded a few different times, but you take a step back, you're pretty young, like 28
now.
28, yep. But you started the gym when you were 25, right?
Yeah, so I had the lease signed at 25, and then, we just celebrated 2 years of business on February 12th, so things have been, rolling. It's been a lot of fun, a little bit of stress here and there, but overall, it's been great. So
that's great. So if you could give us a little bit of the background, like how did you go from being your normal 25-year-old to being a gym owner, like at 25? That's pretty impressive.
I appreciate that. Yeah, it's definitely been a unique story. I guess the quick, background would be, I got laid off during the pandemic back in 2020, and then I moved back home to Winchester, Virginia, where I grew up. After I got laid off, I was like, well, what the hell am I going to do? So I had a little bit of unemployment money, and September of that year, I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I can roll some of that money into a few pieces of gym equipment, and come to find out it wasn't enough. But just starting there and accumulating some pieces of equipment, doing a ton of research. I went to school for a business degree. I have focuses in entrepreneurship and marketing, so I feel like I guess my degree kind of worked out, but just taking an opportunity and just kind of running with it. So, and here we are.
That's cool. It must have. How long did it take you? You have a really wide variety of old school equipment. I'm assuming it took you a while to accumulate all of that, to collect it all.
Yeah. So my original business plan model was I always wanted to have a gym with old school equipment and a great atmosphere. Now at the time, I really didn't know what the hell some of the brands were. So that's where researching and talking to a lot of guys in the industry. And then, now having the knowledge that I do and some of the pieces we have in the gym, it's been a process, but, opening up, we had a couple great pieces, things like the Flex Ham Tractor. I know that's a great gem to have in a gym. And now at the point, we're adding some rare old school, Flex, some Nebula pieces as well, and some old school Strive. And then at the same, at the same time, we have some stuff from Atlantis, some brand new stuff from Prime. So it's a nice mix of old school and new school.
That's awesome. Now that you're a little more familiar with, as you said, you weren't as familiar with the brands when you first started. Now that you've gotten a little bit more familiar with the different brands and what's out there and what's available and what's not available, how do you decide what you're going to put on the floor? How do you decide, this is the next piece I want to look for? Because when I was at the gym, I know several of your members were telling me that, that you're always going on road trips. And when Will goes on a road trip, we're excited because we know he's coming back with something cool.
Yeah. Whether it's swapping, certain pieces of equipment out, or, it's, constantly looking for, some old school gems on the market. I think there's always there's always room to add something. I guess that's a good problem to have, but I think overall, at this point now, I think it would come down to space. if there's a huge need for that type of piece, or I have, a list of things that I really want to get in there. So if we find them, maybe we have to swap something out, or we put it in storage for a little bit until we have some more space.
Okay, awesome. You have a kind of a very unique concept in that, like vintage, old school, but like you're like with the artwork on the walls, and the stuff like that. You can see it in the photos, I'm sure. How did you come up with that idea to go kind of more of like an old school arcade ish, like that kind of a vibe than like down and dirty old school gym?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, it's definitely a unique environment. I think the type of mentality that we paint in the gym is working hard. I mean, I have it on my sweatshirt right here. I think it's work harder. So I think the foundation of like all of our members is working hard regardless of your starting point. So we have a lot of beginners. We have younger, older, but then we have people who compete in powerlifting, bodybuilding. So it's a great group. It's probably not your most like hardcore gym in the world, but I mean, we definitely have a lot of men and women who push themselves every single day, and yeah. So, but I guess with the physical atmosphere itself too. Back in college, I used to do a lot of thrifting. So I
Hmm.
used to, buy and resell, vintage T-shirts, jerseys, jackets, like the old school starter stuff as well.
Right.
So when I was like planning the gym, like 4 years ago now, I really wanted to incorporate that kind of retro 80s, 90s, culture into the gym.
Hmm.
So a unique way of doing that was, I mean, we have, a couple arcade machines in the gym, whether it's some, cartoon characters on the wall, but then at the same time, it is, uh, one of our new artwork pieces that we had done by Jesse Jennings was the Rhino in the powerlifting area. So a little more grungy feeling, but at the same time, it's still kind of retro-y.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. Yeah, and it's unique. I haven't been to, I've been to I think I added it up today. It's 191 gyms, and nobody has the like the look and feel that you have. It's definitely a unique atmosphere.
I
But I've
appreciate
never
it.
seen to really respond to it. Like everyone I spoke to there was very positive. They love what you're doing with the gym. They were all really excited. They talked about it being kind of a family, but yet being a place you come to work. So,
Yeah.
are there things that you've done that you feel like have helped to create that environment, or do you think that came about organically, or do you think there's that the things that you've done like help to create that?
I mean, I think whether it's business or anything in life, I think uh, it comes down to expectations.
Hmm.
And when we have new members sign up from whether it's day one or today, I mean, I'm there pretty much every single day, especially in the beginning. I mean, it was minimum 12-hour days for at least 5 months straight. So, um, just being there, being passionate about what I do, the product that we have, the respect we have for the equipment, the environment, the other members in the gym. Um, I think that's very important. So, when we sign someone up, it's, setting the expectations of, we hold Vintage Iron to, a very high standard up here. And we expect that, for every guest and member that comes into the gym to, uphold the rules and, you know, you know, uh, work hard as hell every single day you're in there. But at the same time, just, be respectful. And, I think I have I guess, an outgoing personality. So, always, happy to talk to someone, especially a new face when they're coming into the gym. So, I think it starts from the top down, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, I always say like if I go into a gym and the members know who the owner is, then it's probably going to be a pretty good gym. If I go into a gym and I ask them about if they know who George is or John or Paul or whoever, I just named off the Beatles. Um, if they don't know who the owner is, it ends up not being a very good gym oftentimes.
Yeah.
So I think like present owners being present really has such a difference in the gym. It just, when your members feel like you care about the gym, they care about the gym. And it's obvious that you do care about the gym and the members really know that you do. So that's pretty awesome.
No, absolutely. I mean, even just having something like our equipment fee in the gym, where if people are consistently not racking their weights and everything, they get billed $15. So we don't do it as often as we could, but sometimes additional reminders for some members are nice. But overall, I mean, we have a great group of men and women in the gym, and I always say we're just getting started, and it's crazy how fast 2 years is going by.
Oh yeah, well, that kind of brings me to my next question. Like, you've grown, you said 3 or 4 times already?
Yeah, so we've had 2 expansions. We started, so as you saw, like the layout of the gym is pretty unique. So we're inside a shopping center. For the viewers watching, we're inside a shopping center. We started in the back left of the shopping center of about 5,100 square feet. I think I had 2 bathrooms, a little, desk for our lobby, and maybe like 5-6 months in, then I signed the lease for our first big expansion, which took over another like 7,200 square feet. That added full locker rooms for men and women, a lot more equipment and space, of course. And then our most recent expansion was maybe just shy of 3,000 square feet, which was a huge layout change. It moved our lobby from the back all the way to the storefront where it is now. And I think that's been huge with just, storefront presence. And then the way we have the equipment laid out is really just dictated based on the space now. So it's like I'm almost feel like I'm running out of space, and would love to get more space, but unfortunately at the time there's no more room to grow inside the current shopping center.
Right. So that brings me to my next question. You're just kind of rolling right into my questions. So what's next for Vintage Iron? Like, do you think, are you looking to get bigger? Are you looking to potentially, will there ever be a second Vintage Iron, or will Vintage Iron just get bigger?
So I guess I'll say this, I say it jokingly, but I always say I would love to take over the Apple Blossom Mall that's in Winchester. I mean, it's a massive mall. I mean, I think crazy vision, something like that would be, if it made sense, right? Going that big, but more realistically, I would love to have more space to, add more equipment or add some, other, just equipment space for members. Just trying to continue to find ways to add value.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have finally upgrades to our posing room coming. We have dimmable studio lighting coming in. We're fixing our mirrors that we're kind of delaminating a little bit. So that'll be one big upgrade that we have coming soon. We do have space for saunas for men and women in the locker rooms. So that's a project I would like to see done this year. And then honestly, I mean, I would love a second location for Vintage Iron. I think there's a lot of value in 2 locations, and I think our gym has a great reputation, just from the community aspect alone.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to share that with another location, I think, would be huge. But of course, there's a lot of things that go into that.
Right.
So, but that's kind of where my head's at, and if it's not that, then it's more space and just continue to grow, add more value. Just kind of never settle. So
That's awesome. Yeah. And if you do get a second location, like, we'll be right there, because the first one was super cool.
I appreciate it.
One of the things we like to ask all the gym owners that come on with us before we finish up is, now that you've had your gym for a couple of years and you've obviously been really successful, and you've already had, as you said, 2 expansions, and you're still growing, like, is there a piece of advice or some advice that you would give to someone who's thinking about owning a gym or wants to own a gym someday?
I don't know if there's one specific thing to say for that. But I mean, it's definitely, I mean, it's a ton of work, especially I think with how we do things as well, just being very hands-on. Expect the unexpected.
Okay.
I think just not even just for owning a gym, but just business in general. I mean, things come up all the time. It's kind of the beauty in, I guess, my career now is every day is different, which is awesome. But then every day is different.
Right.
So, but I mean, if anyone looking to open a gym, I mean, whether it's something like Vintage Iron or anything, I would just say start small. I mean, build a community. Love what you do. You can't really fake the passion. So, and people see that. So, I'd say maybe start small, or if anything, just love what you do. And if you're chasing a dream like like I was doing, like no one can take that away from you if that's something that you set your mind to and you do it. Even if you fail, no one's going to say you didn't try. So that'd be my feedback for that.
No, that's awesome. Thank you. And I appreciate you coming on. And as I said before, I thought the gym was great, and we look forward to what's coming next for Vintage.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks again for taking the time, and of course, making a trip to come see us. So we'll definitely look
That
forward
was
to
great.
it.
Definitely well worth it. So thank you.
I appreciate it, Chris. We'll talk to you soon now.
Definitely.
All right, thanks.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more great content.